Welcome everyone to Selective Prep Power Thinking Skills Test 35. So in these videos, we usually go through some questions that are selected from the exam and kind of give you more detailed solutions to those questions. So today we are going to look at 10 questions. Okay, they were a bit trickier and we're going to go through the solutions together. So let's get started with the first one. First question, drawing if a conclusion is true or not. So we kind of had to order the 5 members of the swim team from the fastest to the slowest, okay? So let's get out a pen. Hopefully you guys can do this along with me, okay, on a different piece of paper. And we're going to use these facts. So we know that Patrick was faster than Quinane. So when we're at Patrick and Quinane, notice how I'm leaving some space between each person because we don't really know where they actually go. We just know in relation, okay? Rhonda was slower than Simone but faster than Quinane. So Rhonda was slower than Simone but faster. So Rhonda could either go here, okay, or here. And in relation, Simone has to be after Rhonda, so they could go there or there, okay? Now, Tanya was faster than Rhonda. So again, Tanya is going to go, I'll put Tanya here, okay? If Rhonda's here, it's going to go here or here. So it's quite confusing if you order it like that, but let's try and figure out of which one is true. So Quinane was the second slowest swimmer. We don't know that for sure, okay? It depends on where Simone is, looking at our diagram. So A is out. Patrick was the fastest swimmer. Again, we don't know that, okay? Look, if you see the diagram, Tanya could be faster. Simone was the fastest swimmer. Definitely not, okay? Because there's people above her. And Quinane was the slowest swimmer. So this one, although Simone could be slower, okay, this one is actually true. And that's because from statement 2 and 3, we know that Tanya was faster than Rhonda, okay, and they were faster than Quinane. And Simone and Patrick were both faster than Quinane. So actually Simone would, in fact, go after Quinane. Yeah. So that's why D is the answer. Okay, number 2, deductive reasoning. We're given a set of, like a menu, and we want to figure out Kirsten, what she can pick given her preferences and her allergies. She's allergic to gluten, which means she needs to look at the gluten-free options. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out all the options which aren't labeled GF or gluten-free. That leaves us with some options, okay? She does not like fruits or vegetables. So we're going to cross out all of the fruits and vegetable containing items. So let's use a different color. She does not like fruit or vegetables. Tomato soup's out. Strawberry shortcake is out. Okay. And actually, what else? Okay, that's it for now. Okay. So, which one would she select? Well, if you look at set A, you have arancini balls. Okay. And between set B, you can have either one of these. Okay, and then you would have to have the brownie for dessert, sorry. So that actually leaves us with option D, okay? Either though you only chose pesto pasta, either T-bone steak or pesto pasta would be fine. And if you look at A, B, and C, they all have options that she cannot eat. So D is the answer. Okay, 3, unstated assumptions. Let's read the kind of main gist of this paragraph. Judy has a phone repair store and she has all of these different phones that need different repairs. There are 45 faulty phones. Now, if you were to add up all of these together, you would realize that there is actually 45 phones, which means, okay, that each phone will have one faulty thing only. Okay, so if it was one of the 23 phones with faulty speakers, they only have the faulty speaker problem. And they're all individual like that because there are 45 explicitly stated phones altogether. Judy says, I have 45 phones which I need to repair. This means I must have 45 customers in the past week. Business is good. What is the issue with her reasoning? The main issue I see is that she's assuming that all of these phones are actually from a one-to-one basis. So one faulty phone comes from one customer. And that actually is number I. Okay, do you see how customers could have brought in more than one phone? Okay, that's completely possible. We know that there are 45 phones exactly. We don't know who they belong to. So number one is an issue. Number two, there is no guarantee that Judy can fix all the phones. Now, this isn't a part of her reasoning, okay? There's nothing about productivity or fixing the phones, like the actual logistics behind it. So two is not related. And three, some phones could have more than one issue. Like we stated, there are exactly 45 problems, okay, problematic phones, and there are exactly 45 phones. So some phones could not have more than one issue. Each phone has one issue only. So the best number or letter that showcases Judy's reasoning's issues is I, only, which is option C. Can I have a read of the solutions for more information? Okay, detecting reasoning errors. Let's use our highlighter and find the main points of the argument. So the main point is that there is an estimated 23% decline in the population of the bird, but only a 12% decline actually was observed, it was seen. Therefore, it can be concluded that the model is incorrect and that birds will not go extinct. What they've done here is a thing called extrapolation. Okay, that means that they've taken a bit of info that was shown. Okay, so 23% decline didn't happen and only 12% decline happened. Okay, and they are making that, they're extending that and predicting a future that does not exist. Okay, we cannot predict and extrapolate this information so much so to conclude that birds will not go extinct. That is a very, very broad statement. The flaw is best represented by A. Just because one part of the prediction is false or not realized does not mean that subsequent predictions must also be false. So subsequent means next, okay? Just because this didn't reach an exact 23% does not mean the model is completely incorrect. There might be another factor that you have to think about, okay? So A is the best flaw. Okay, 5. 5 was a simple additive pattern. So these two rows are added, okay, and the positions are maintained. So the square on the middle top and circle on the middle bottom, you combine it and you get this middle one, okay? Same as the second column. So the third column, you want to just add the two, just draw them in where they are in the original, and you get option B. Okay, 6. A class is asked about whether they have been to two different Australian cities, Brisbane and Melbourne. 8 students say that they have been to Brisbane, while 15 students say they have been to Melbourne. Now, Adam says, we can tell for certain that there must be 23 students in the class as 8 plus 15 is 23. Now, at first glance, this might seem true. Okay, well, 8 plus 15 is in fact 23. But what Adam failed to recognize is that some of these students may have been to both Brisbane and Melbourne, and some students might have been to neither. It does not give us information or enough information to deduct that. So that's why Adam's reasoning is false. We cannot tell for certain. Okay? Now Ben says it is possible for there to be more than 23 students in the class if a student has not been to either city. Now Ben actually affirms our argument from before, okay? If there was someone who hasn't been to Brisbane or Melbourne, they would not be counted in this poll. So therefore, there might be more than 23 students. So which option is correct then? Ben only, or option B. 7. Which of the following shows a mistake Timothy has made? So Timothy is saying that 15 minutes between all the classes, I should use that time to play games with my friends. What Timothy failed to see is the specifics behind the rule. Mrs. Patterson allows for her students to have an extra 5 minutes to move from room to room between classes. It does not say the whole school allows for every single class. So Timothy has actually overseen this important information. So actually B is the answer. Okay, only Mrs. Patterson's students have 15 minutes to move between classes. We don't know if Timothy is Mrs. Patterson's student, so we cannot directly associate this rule with Timothy. Okay, drawing a conclusion of true or not. Remember the question says which one cannot be concluded, okay? Be careful, don't just pick the one that can be concluded straight away. We have 5 people Dr. Park is seeing. Karina is next 3:30. So let's write the time and write her initial, Karina. Now let's find a statement that's associated with Karina. And you see here George. George is seen 45 minutes after Karina. So 3:30 plus 45 is actually 4:15, and that's George. Notice I'm leaving a gap, okay, because I don't know who comes in between. Now with George, is there anyone? Okay, we can see here, Niall will be seen at 4:25 p.m. That's after George, okay, so we can put Niall here, 4:25, Niall. Richie is seen 30 minutes before Niall, so Richie will be seen 3:55, which is here, okay, before George. And last one, Abigail will be seen 10 minutes before Richie, 3:45 is Abigail. So let's find the one that cannot be concluded or is false. Let's use another color. Dr. Park will see Niall last. He in fact will, so cross or she. Abigail will be seen at 3:40. Okay, that's not correct, is it? Abigail is seen at 3:45. So B is the answer. Let's check next one. George will be seen after Abigail. Yes, he will. So that's out. Richie will be seen at 3:55. Yes, Richie will. So D is out. Answer is B for this one. Okay, 9. 9 is a pattern where you build on each side and each element. On this bottom left-hand corner, we have the circle element, and it's building one by one at a time. But notice how the pattern is reversing. So black, white, black, black, white, black. So you're going to start with white this time. White, black, white, black. So you can cross out A and C. Okay? Now between B and D, what is the difference? You can think about the triangles, okay, but it's not really going to help because they're the same. The difference comes in the lines. We have 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines. So we're expecting 5 lines. D only has 4 lines. D is out. B is the one with 5 lines. So B is the final answer. And one more. Okay, statements are needed to prove that Tennyson lives on the 4th floor and has a blue door. 2 different elements. The first element has a blue door can be solved straight away by option 3. Right, Tennyson has a blue door. So you can actually cross out A. Now, the 4th floor part is the tricky one. You're actually going to look at 1 and 2. Mark has a brown door and lives below Tennyson. Okay, so Mark has a brown door and he's going to live below Tennyson. Stacy lives on the 3rd floor and Mark is her next door neighbor. So Stacy and Mark live on the 3rd floor, and remember Mark is below Tennyson by 1 floor, so Tennyson must live on the 4th floor. So you need 1 and 2 and 3 to tell us that Tennyson lives on the 4th floor and a blue door. So option B is the answer. Okay, finally, let's do some points, key points from this test. The main one, we are going to talk about tables, okay? When you look at tables, I want you to focus on the labels, okay, given in each row and column. These can provide a lot of information that isn't explicitly stated in the paragraph, okay, the intro. So that's really important. Another thing that we want to talk about, let's talk about the patterns, okay? For patterns, try and zoom out and look at the broader pattern first, okay? What are the elements that are moving? So remember from our pattern from question 7 or 8, there were the lines, the circles, and the triangles, and they were all moving one at a time, okay? Try to isolate these different elements and track each of the elements as they go. Hopefully that was helpful for you, and for next time, try to apply the things that we learned today in this video for the next exam. Okay, that's the only way you can improve, to kind of identify your issues or the main problems that you have in the exam and then apply the solutions to those. So until next time, I hope you guys have a great week and I will see you then. Take care.